Yeah, man, I tell you, I gotta tell you
Good
that.
morning. How are you? So we are here today on early Saturday morning after a very late night. We had the honor of being at the historic Black Precinct last night um, for Racial Justice Shabbat in collaboration with Repair the World, and so we're here, and this is our monthly historic Overtown Legacy Trek. And Mr. Ivory and I are here. It's going to be an abbreviated trek because we have another event that we're doing today that we're very excited about that is around food justice. And so we're here at the Lyric Theater. I still haven't learned how to like turn my camera around, so it might be a little bit awkward, but we're going to make it do what it do. Right? And we paid honor and gave homage to those who were here before us, the land that this was before, um, the people who loved and cultivated this land, and our own ancestors. Today, I'm heavy with the spirit of elevating Mama Harriet and Mama Zora Neale Hurston. They were in my spirit today, and so those are the folks that I want us to bring along for me. That's who I'm bringing today for our trek. All right.
So, good morning, everybody. Good morning. This is Ivory. We're out here with Mr. Cole in the Legacy Track. Good morning, everybody. So, we're just looking around, uh, just in brief, folks. In order to understand Miami, South Florida, Overtown, you got to go to what was here and what it has become. Okay. So I'm gonna read in brief, an abbreviated version of the businesses that was here in Overtown, 1905, and within a 10-year span, there will be explosions. It's very important to understand this because when you come here, you look around, you think this is it. No, it was so much more. So if I can, you think it'll be okay?
And then as you talk, I'm gonna pan just what we have, and I'll pan back to you.
Okay. Well, here we
Okay.
can walk and do it. My speaker will keep a moderate volume,
Okay.
so that way you can. So there you go. So as I was saying, 1905, 1905, 1915, and 1900, and I'm reading from the Miami Herald, 1900 newspaper. This is Marvin Dunn's book, Black Miami in the 20th Century. This column over here shows businesses in 1905, and less than 10 years later, 1905 in Overtown. In less than 10 years later, you're going to have an explosion of black businesses. So in 1900, you had five barbershops in Overtown. Five barbershops in Overtown. In 1900, you had one bicycle repair, four blacksmithing shops. You had two boarding houses. You had five carpenters. You had one cigar maker. You had two firewood cutters contracting. You had two fisheries, one fruit stand, four grocery meat markets. Listen to that, folks. Four grocery meat markets in 1900. You had four ice wagons, two mechanics, one plumbing, six restaurants. Six restaurants in 1905. Six restaurants. Six restaurants in 1905. You had five dressmaker shops in 1900 and one tailoring. So in 1915, the business explosion, economic development. When we talk about economic development, folks, when we talk about economic development, this is what we're talking about. So in 1915, reading from the Miami Herald, in 1915, they published Black Businesses in Miami, Overtown. So 1915, you have one auto trimming shops. You have the Model T Ford that's happening. Cars are happening. You have two bakeries, nine barbershops in 1915. You have two bicycle shops, one blacksmith shop, seven draymen. Draymen are people with flatbeds being pulled by a horse, a flatbed being pulled by a horse. Draymen are nine draymans are people that have a horse and wagon and they're using it to haul furniture or whatever you need. Also, you have 14 dressmakers, 14 dressmaker shops in 1915, folks. Okay? You have three drugstores in 1915 Overtown. Okay? Expert cutters, 5 fish markets, 2 fruit stands, 17 grocery stores. 1915, folks, 17. 17 grocery stores, 17 Hackman is basically like the when you have the Hackmans are like the modern day Uber. Okay, you have 17 Hackmans at that time. Okay, you have 3 hair emporiums, 3 hair emporiums in 1915. Today we would call hair emporiums, we would call them the beauty parlor. Okay, you have 1 ice dealer in Overtown in 1915. You have 3 insurance companies in Black Overtown. You have 2 liverymen, 2 liverymen. You have 3 insurance companies, 4 meat markets. You have 7 milliner shops. Milliner shops are where you go to get your hat repaired or your dresses repaired. Okay. You have 7 painting companies, 1 plumbing company, 4 printing companies, 6 real estates, 1 savings association. That means 1 black bank. 1915. You know who bank that was? That was Dorsey Bank. You have 5 shoe shine stands, 11 tailor shops and pressing. That's dry cleaners. You have 1 theater that we're standing in front of now, and that's the Lyric Theater in 1915. You have 2 undertakers. Okay. That was Kelsey Farr, whose Kelsey Farr Elementary School is named after. He was an undertaker. He was one of those undertakers in 1915. And you have 2 upholsteries. So just to give you an idea of what's happening. Okay, just to give you an idea of what's happening up here in Overtown, Miami. Yes, indeed. But when you look around today, you don't see 17 grocery stores. You don't see 5 hair emporiums. You don't see 9 barbershops. So our question to you: what has happened to the community development? What has happened to community development here in South Florida? Also, tune into Billy Corbin. We're going to also drop that on you. Tune into Billy Corbin on Instagram. Mrs. Nicole is going to link you to Billy Corbin so you can help to try to understand what's going on. So you can understand what's going on. Okay. Thank you so much.
So, can you give a little bit of history about this,
Okay.
the
So,
incorporation of this?
so still live? We live?
Mm-hmm.
Are we live?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I can see myself in the monitor. So if you hold it, I can position myself.
Okay.
And that's so good. If you want to cue in on
Can
it,
we see this? Okay. Okay, I see it.
cue
I'm
in on
learning
it, and
it.
that way I'll narrate from the side.
Okay.
That way they can see the numbers. Okay. Okay. Perfect. 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 So right here, there was a meeting held in Miami, July 28th, 1896. They needed to incorporate this newfound land that they would call Miami. The problem was there wasn't enough whites. Registered voter whites was 243. Okay. Florida state law, 1896, you needed over 400 people in an area to legally vote to incorporate a city. Flagler wants to bring the railroad. Flagler has to bring the railroad. The railroad is going as far as Palm Beach at the time. Eventually, he's going to end in Key West. Flagler say, I'm not going to bring a train this far south unless this city is incorporated. So on July 28th, 1896, they rounded up folks, 243 white, 181 blacks, consisting of Bahamians and sharecroppers from Georgia and Alabama and the Carolinas, would get together and vote. Of those registered, 368 were present at the meeting. There was a total of 424. Miami was voted in. So if you look at the number, 45% of the voters were black that incorporated this city. Remember, this is the time of Jim Crow race segregation, lynching, KKK. Only one place in America we know that blacks were allowed to vote at that time. It's here in Miami. But it was only a moment in time because the next day it went back to Jim Crow. But just to let you know that the power and the importance of African heritage in Miami, and their names are on the city charter to this day. So I ask you folks, what will it take to get our leaders to support this community? Because this community is where the first workers were that laid the tracks for the railroad. Uh, this community and people that came from Overtown were the first workers that built the city. They cleared the land for the Flagler Hotel downtown, the layout of the streets in downtown. This has been a cash cow for the city of Miami since its inception. Okay? So, what we ask today, pay attention. Go back and look at the history, read the history, watch Billy Corbin. Okay? Watch Billy Corbin.
Oh Lord.
Okay? Thank you so much.
Amen. And so the other piece is when we talk about the narrative and the importance of these treks and the importance of the history just in general is so much of it is going away, right? It's being torn down. The developers are at the helm of making a lot of the decisions. Um, they've been given permission to do so. And so, one of the things that we talk about a lot in the walk is narrative. I know that when I moved here, the narrative of Overtown, the only narrative I knew was on the first 48. And so, um, which was riddled with crime, right? And the other piece is I wanted to show so that is the artist Purvis Young, who was, to me, I feel as though he was not only a brilliant man, but a prophet in a lot of ways. Um, and next to him, you'll see the houses. Some people refer to those houses as shotgun houses, and they say that the narrative for that is that you can shoot through the front door and the bullet will go straight out the back. Um, and so it was called shotgun houses, and you'll find them all over the Caribbean. You'll find them all over the South, a lot of different places. And the power of that narrative and the level of shame that is accompanied with thinking that you live in a shotgun house in that piece. Um, but upon further inspection and research, finding out that in fact that style of house was called Shogun House, West Africa, and it was the concept and the idea of it was brought over during the Middle Passage through all of the trauma that was endured by the people. Um, these concepts were maintained, and they were called shogun houses in West Africa, which means house of God. And so there's a different energy and a different pride and a different feel, a different vibration that accompanies knowing that you live in a house of God as opposed to a shotgun house. And the other reality is that it was built that way because they're some of the most resilient structures that were built. And you can open the front door and open the back door, and it allows the air to circulate fully, which is important in tropical climates. The other interesting thing that I found in doing research is even though the people were in a foreign land, in a whole different space, they knew exactly the right trees to use that could make them durable. Many have not been preserved well because like whoever decides what is valuable, and so many of these have been torn down. Part of the ability for Overtown to have such a density was because the shotgun houses in Goodbread Alley lined the spaces. And so the families were super close in proximity and also in spirit. So I find that interesting. And I think that is it for today. I think the next time we come on, we will definitely go and visit the garden by Dr. Dunn and his brother.
Yes, yes.
Um, Maybe Thursday we'll be able to go and visit over there so that we can see what is happening over there. It's beautiful, and they'll be having their grand opening. Is it this coming Saturday?
I think so.
Yeah, this coming Saturday they'll be having their grand opening over there. But it's just interesting to look at all of, back then a lot of the houses were wood. They were wooden structures. So we think about the impact of those. There was some concrete as well. Um, but now we're surrounded by concrete, and it's hot. We're grateful today it's not so hot, but the concrete brings the heat.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you mentioned about wood, and I just wanted to say real quick. Remember the wood that they're using on these houses as they build throughout Florida is identified as Dade County pine tree. It's indigenous to this region. Dade County pine tree, Florida termites cannot penetrate the wood, and it's impervious to rot. It doesn't rot.
Wow.
So these were strong homes throughout Miami, South Florida, Florida in general. Today, you cannot use Dade County pine to build your home because it has become an endangered tree species because it was so rapidly used. Yeah. So, I mean, these were strong structures. Remember, prior to you see this standing here, maybe at this time, 3, 4 hurricanes had been through over the years. It's still standing. These were strong structures, very strong structures.
What do
What is built
you?
today is not
Oh,
as strong.
I have a question as we close out. Um, and I guess it comes up just based on an experience that we had a while ago.
Mhm.
Hold on, my mama. Um, but as we walked around and we were trying to find spaces of hope and of joy. Um, what are the things that you love most about Overtown, and what are the spaces of joy that you find within the community?
What I love about it that it was played such an important role of building of this city. What I like about it is that it has played a pivotal role in the development of Miami, seeing the way Miami is this beautiful city now, and this was the birthplace of it. I will let you lead me to where there is hope that we see
Mhm.
as far as
But just any hope, because you were born and raised in Overtown.
yeah, I was born and raised in
Hmm.
Overtown. My family had a business in Overtown. By the time I'm coming along, they're moving to the new white Liberty City. Well, Liberty City was white at the time, but the business would be over town up until like the '80s and stuff. So I was like back and forth. So as far as right now, then I can
Forever,
name forever.
forever. Like what keeps you here,
What keeps me here?
and what do you love about this space?
Little greenhouse grill. Little greenhouse grill because the flavor reminds me of the flavor of the back in the day.
Okay.
And Jackson's soul food for the breakfast, for that soul breakfast, that Bahamian breakfast. Okay, those are the two things that really center you because food is a connection to memories,
Mm-hmm.
is connection to the past. You know, and there are many places around here where people find space. I'm just saying, for me,
Mm-hmm.
food and memory goes
I
hand
love
in hand.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Why do you fight so hard for Overtown?
It just seems so natural. I was here when I was able to see a glimpse of this when this was on its last leg. You know, early '60s when the hustle and bustle, the activity, all the events, a night in Nassau, the businesses, and with my parents being teachers and also entrepreneurs in business and stuff, it gave me a whole nother level to see, everything. Yeah, yeah. So it was constantly going, constantly activity. I was going to City Hall meetings before City Hall moved to Coconut Grove. City Hall used to be over there where Dixie is at,
Oh,
on 11th Street. Yeah,
wow.
yeah, that was the Miami City Hall and the Miami Police Department where the Winn Dixie sitting at now.
Wow.
Yeah. Then later on, late 60s, it would move to Coconut Grove. So I was going to meetings with my parents and them, not knowing what the meeting about, but I remember those gatherings. And what it was at the time, black teachers was fighting for equal pay in the Dade County school system. Yeah. hmm Yeah. And it was unequal and unbalanced because a to get a master, they would pay blacks with a master's degree $125 a month. Blacks with a master's degree would get paid. That was top tier dollar in education. $125 a month was top tier pay for
Right.
blacks with master's
What
degrees.
about white ones?
Oh, it's yeah, more than that. What would be the rightful standard?
Right.
With a black with a master's degree, Miami in the early '60s, my parents were $125 a month. So there were many meetings, gatherings trying to push for teachers in general was like unionizing. So yeah.
Uh, what do you miss most about growing up in Overtown?
The people, the hustle and bustle, the kids skating, biking up the street, the smell of passing by somebody's house and they cooking. You can smell the banana pudding.
Okay, your mouth watering now
Okay,
just thinking
okay.
about it. I
You can
love
smell the
it.
banana pudding. You know, uh, 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 the way people dress, people were more stylish.
Uh-huh.
Which we all know back then. People went to everywhere. People just
Yes.
like dressed. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like just to go down the street. So all of that. Yeah. hmm
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. And so we will return. Thank you for joining us. Be well.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I tell you, bro.